It says showtime with a microphone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm having a good morning. I hope you're having a good morning. There we go. Yeah, looks live. Let me double check on the tube of the U. Pretty sure we'll be good there too. And there it is. And there I am. Yep, there we go. Hello, good morning. And let's see, Rumble. Rumble, you've been kicking some butt. Make sure you're live. Rumble. And let's make sure it should be live. Let's see where we go. Rumble's not saying it yet, but that's all right. We'll come back. It usually goes right away. All right. Good morning, everybody. Really nice to see you. Oh, 3 of you already. Hello. Good morning. It's going to be a wonderful day. We have, and I didn't even notice this until I was making the thumbnail for the stream itself, that we have the OPP commissioner today. Big boss, top dog. I guess we've been building up to him because he's the last OPP OPS officer that we're expecting, except for ex-chief Slowly, which we're expecting tomorrow. So today should be a full day with Thomas Karik. I've been trying to find out how to pronounce that, so I'll be paying attention when they announce him. And Karik, Commissioner Karik. Well, Commissioner, you have a great team so far. The people have been wonderful. That's under you. You had one political guy where he was a little bit political. Oh, good morning, Connie. First, you get first. He's one political guy, but the rest of your staff, and even him, he was pretty upfront and honest, but he was, playing the games a bit. So we're expecting probably high caliber from you, high honesty from you, high integrity from you. I don't think anybody would be surprised if you just continued to show that the OPP was aware of what was going on. Your reports were wonderful. Haddon Hayden reports were wonderful. And I think you're just going to shine up there. It's going to be a long day because there's going to be a lot more information coming out of you because you're going to be the commissioner. And I'm really looking forward to your testimony. So I thought maybe this morning, Christine didn't do another summary. She's super busy. Got the book out. She got a lot going on. She also is a lawyer. She's also fighting for our rights and freedoms on many different fronts. So totally get it. So I don't have a video from Christine for you today. Maybe tomorrow. Probably one for Slowly for sure. But today I thought I would just introduce myself a bit. We're now on the 11th stream. Some of you kind of know that I'm running for office. It's kind of my motivation to come out of the woodwork from my introvert life. I'm a software guy. I do computer stuff mainly. And then I do other things on the side for kind of fun, like law and flying. But I thought I would introduce myself a bit because I am running for office. This trucker convoy, the result of it, the reaction to it, the government response, that was my motivator to change my life from a private life to a public life. It wasn't something that I was planning for, aiming for, trying to do with my career. My career was technology mainly. I'm a behind the scenes type of guy. I do the back end, computer, cloud. Those are all the things that I actually have a passion for, believe it or not. It's a lot of fun to set up that kind of stuff and do that kind of work. For me, I get to work with great people all over the place around the world. Oh, we're getting some checking on the audio. Great. And what it did was that it prepared me to be a businessman, an entrepreneur. I'm very curious. I like to analyze. I like to dig deep. I practice this thing called mind mapping, where you kind of visualize things in your head and you can kind of keep things organized. It's a technique I picked up a long time ago, kind of naturally, and then there was some training I did. But it helps me to kind of analyze large things and make connections and find, where things maybe overlap and are related in ways that you don't normally see. It helps me, with my technology stuff, and it also helps in law. And it also helps me review complicated things and, kind of extrapolate the necessities and understand it better. So, building on that foundation, I, sold the company, a technology company. I got involved with event ticketing. So we took on Ticketmaster in the early days. Before all these other alternate ticketing companies were around, we were one of those those, I did that in Canada. I was in a company called Ticket Break. Some of you might know it. It was pretty. We had lots of penetration in the Toronto market, Eastern Ontario market. The Barrie Colts. We did the Barrie Colts hockey team tickets for many seasons. And then we eventually sold that company off and went on to other things. For me, I went into law. So we kind of took a little bit of a hiatus from career and took a year to go and get an accelerated course done for paralegal in Ontario. Ontario, they regulate and license paralegals. It's the first jurisdiction in North America to do that. So everywhere else, if you're hearing me and you hear paralegal, you're thinking legal assistant. But in Ontario, that's not the case. Ontario, it's a trained license. You have to pass the exam, the bar. They treat it differently there because in Ontario, what they did was they introduced paralegals as another member of the law society. And we were basically lawyers, but limited to, let's just call the easier stuff, the stuff that the lawyers really shouldn't have to spend too much time on because their rates are high and the work isn't requiring that kind of expertise. Traffic, small claims court, minor offenses in the criminal code, anything under $5,000 fine, they're called summary. Any summary conviction or anything that you're looking at a summary conviction for, paralegals can handle in Ontario. So I did all that kind of stuff. I went into courts. I had defendants. I represented defendants. A couple claims where I represented the plaintiff, small claims, all that kind of stuff. So I did that kind of really late in life. In my late 30s, I went back to school, did the exam on my 40th birthday, February 14th. And that's an important date here because February 14th, they invoked the Emergency Act on my birthday. Thanks, Trudeau. Yeah, did that. And then practice for a little bit because I really wanted to not be intimidated by law. I really wanted to have an understanding of law, how to do it, how to read statutes, how to go through the procedures, how to understand how the system works. So I spent a couple years doing that. Got a job with federal government, not federal government, county government, so regional government. We took care of some municipalities. I did the IT there, and that was a lot of fun. There was some good work there. Really exposed me to the behind the scenes of government and technology, bureaucracy, how they keep things, security. It was a good eye opener to understand how government works. And that's also where I got a good understanding that we have elected officials and non-elected officials, and they actually compete and they run things between this dynamic between them. And what you may learn if you get into that kind of side of things is non-elected officials have a lot of power and they are around for a long time. They don't have a public exposure per se. And they're not really that accountable when it comes to the public as you see with elected officials, because elected officials have to get a vote. So you have to be very public. You have to work with the people, whereas the unelected officials, not so much. They're all great people. Like I met a lot of great people there. And that's what also empowers me to know that the government isn't full of corrupt people that are out to destroy our country. That's just simply a narrative that's just not true. We certainly have some leaders, which we should be paying close attention to and understanding what they're doing. But the staff, a lot of staff that I worked with and met over the years, that's not the class. They're excellent people. Public servants, right? You're getting into a business or you're getting into a career where you're doing work for the people. So I worked with a lot of good people there, still in contact with quite a few of them. And that's why I feel like the government has a chance. You know, we just need to tweak and fix some things and plug some holes and remove some bad apples. But overall, I think Canada has a wonderful government, the people, because it's of the people. So I'm not one of the ones that think the government is corrupt and it's bad and it's going to just crash on us and it's just out there to destroy and hurt us. However, if you read my bio on Twitter and all over the place, I'm absolutely against government overreach and the global agenda because they're both real. We do have global agenda and we do have government overreach. I wish we didn't have to say anything about that or work on that, but it's just true. So sovereignty, federalism, these are things that are important to me. They always have been important to me, even before I decided to get involved with running for local office or for federal office. But it's something that we don't talk about enough in this country. We kind of just let things go. Every once in a while, you'll hear Alberta and Quebec kind of pop up around that subject, and the federal government's pretty good at kind of quashing it. With Alberta, they kind of quash it hard, and with Quebec, it's kind of more negotiated. Here's some concessions, and then let's leave this subject alone because we don't want all the other provinces getting excited about doing the same thing. So I've been watching this sovereignty thing for quite some time. When I was living in Eastern Ontario, we lived quite close to Montreal and in Quebec, so I met a lot of people from Quebec, a lot of good people in Quebec. There's this little animosity between the West and Quebec that I don't think should exist because the people of the provinces are great. It's their leaders. It's the leaders. Leaders will throw mud, call names, and then we all kind of look at the whole province and say, you're all doing it, which is not the case. If you actually ever get a chance to go to Quebec, Montreal is beautiful. The old city is wonderful. Get your stepper and walk around because it's a great place to go. Do try and speak French. Your best bet is to always say bonjour and then go into English because at least you try, and they're very friendly there. But when it comes to leadership, yeah, they're a little bit different. They have a different political system in Quebec. It runs a little bit different than the rest of the country. It's interesting if you actually get into looking at how the Quebec system works. They vote differently than we do here, but that also allows them to break the two-party system. So in Quebec, they break that two-party system all the time. In fact, because their party has like no support in Quebec right now. But anyways, it's a very interesting environment. But I'm not from Quebec. My last name's Levine or Leving. It depends where you are and how you say it. I'll take all of it. Before Avril Lavigne was around, I had lots of different ways that people would say it to me. But yeah, Avril's younger than me, so you know she's taken after me. But anyways, so I'm French blood, but English tongue. I don't have much of a French tongue. That's just the upbringing I had. I was brought up in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. I born in Manitoba, brought up in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and then I went over to the east to build my career and do all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, at the time, Winnipeg wasn't high tech. They were just breaking into high tech in the 90s. So I followed the modems and those weird sounds that you hear on the modems out to the East Coast, Toronto, Halifax. I worked out there quite a lot. And now I'm here and I'm looking to set up our homestead. We are off grid. We do solar power. We do all that. Not because we're super green or anything like that. We do think you should be responsible and not make a mess. But for financial reasons, it would cost the same amount of money to bring the grid in to where we're at because we're so far away from the road that it just made practical sense to go ahead and be off grid. But we do love it. We know we have to take care of our stuff. We got to run a generator from time to time, but we definitely don't miss the monthly bills. And when our neighbors are out of power, we'll just enjoy Netflix quietly then. It's a good life. We're building our house. We don't have a house yet. That might take some time, but we're working on it. We'll be throwing the hammer around ourselves. But yeah, so we're enjoying it. I got 2 young boys, 8 and 6. They're awesome. You might have seen them on the stream a couple times. But what we're trying to do is we're homeschooling them. We're giving them a great education. My oldest, he's a stellar. He's just super advanced. They don't have programs for him in the local public school. And my young one, he's a wonderful little spark. He's our special guy, and we need to give him lots of extra time to help him. He's currently working through nonverbal, and he's got well over 100 signs, and we're working with him, and he's awesome. You're going to meet him one day, I hope. And that's my 2 boys, and then I got a wonderful wife. We imported her from abroad. No, we didn't. She imported herself. We met a long time ago in Toronto. It's been a wonderful ride, and I'm glad that she's out here. She's raising the chickens, and we do some of that stuff around here too. And if she's ever not shy and we can get her on a stream, you might see her a couple more times. And then yeah, so we're setting up shop here, and I'm doing some tech stuff. We're trying to set up the homestead, and I got myself into this political stuff. But sorry about that. That was kind of more of a political. Hello, I'm Jason. This is kind of what's driving my mission to go from a private life to a public life. It wasn't a choice that I wanted to do, but I did feel compelled. I do have young children. I am worried about the impact on them in the future if a particular agenda keeps going. Actually, I think I have enough time to speak about that one. So Quebec passed a bill, I think it was Bill 15, C-15, Bill 15, which took away parental rights. So parental rights in Quebec are now gone. The state now has the right, and what they've done is they've given the right to the child, and then the child is represented by the state. So the state will determine when a child needs a decision made for them. So they get to decide, and then they also get to be the ones that make the decision for them. The parent is now taken out of the loop. That scares me because, well, we homeschool our kids. That's one thing. And somebody in the future may determine that homeschooling is probably, in their opinion, they're wrong, but in their opinion, might not be the best thing for my child and decide to intervene. If we have mechanisms in place in Alberta and Canada where the state decides what's better for my child, I think that's a big mistake, and that would be a day that wouldn't be fun for all involved. If I had to approach or, be faced with the idea that my kids either had to go into public school system or had to get something put into them or anything along those lines because the state decided that. And if I don't go along with that, then I may lose my access to my children. That's my driver. So Quebec is starting to do that. We see the federal government doing things like allowing children starting in March 2023 to decide to end life, get in end of life care. So I can see where this is headed, and that's why I definitely want to be in the 45th Parliament to try and pull back on this agenda. Get away from our kids, stay away from certain subjects in school that should never be there. Certain issues with our children shouldn't be issues with our children. I want to go and make sure that I can do whatever I can to limit the government's power on the lives of our children that shouldn't be there. I have to. I'm cautiously concerned about them, and that's my driver. So that's why I went from a private introvert nerd who loves to watch silly YouTube videos about circuit boards and things like that and how they work. Ben Eater is one of my favorite followers. So if you go and watch him, you'll know what I mean. I'm a nerd, but I enjoy it. But I'm going to put all that aside, do things like this, stream to you all day, go critique the government, go in there and look for these problems and have some input on it and do what I can to get in there for the next parliament and make some changes. So thank you very much for letting me spend that little time to get that out. I haven't had an opportunity to do that, and I think it was kind of time for people to have an opportunity to kind of meet who the Jason is behind here. I'm more than just a handsome guy. I am a nerd, and I have a passion for my children, and I don't put my head in the sand. So because of that mind mapping thing that goes on in my head, I can see how the government is taking steps towards becoming parents to my children, and I'm not cool with that. And thank you also for listening to my Hello, I'm Jason yesterday. If you didn't catch that, the first 30 minutes of yesterday's stream, I kind of just introduced myself, talked about some my passion was driving me to be here today in front of you, to be doing this whole running for office stuff, because I do have my own story. And it's important to me that I do succeed at this. I do think that if we can't fix Canada in this next election, if we can't put in some strong leaders and we can't put in people that are determined to put us back on track, this country it could take a while to get it back. I think if we let that particular one go by, it could take a while to get it back. So I'm trying super hard to do everything I can. Yellowhead is a large region. And for those that don't know where it is, it's west of Edmonton. So just west of Edmonton, there's a place, southwest of Edmonton, there's a place called Leduc. So that would be the east border. It goes all the way to Jasper, which is gorgeous. So if you ever do any skiing, you come to Yellowhead, go to Jasper. And then we go south to Rocky Mountain House, which is a nice little place for hanging out. We take the kids there to do the water slides there because we're in the bush. That's kind of like a little getaway. In the middle of Yellowhead is Drayton Valley. So Drayton Valley is a bustling place, a lot of oil there. a lot of hardworking people there. It's a great town. The mayor is amazing, and they're working really hard at revitalizing, because oil is the driver around here, and with some of the policies we don't get at all. You can continue a bit more north to Edson, and Edson's kind of the northern boundary, and then you follow the Yellowhead Highway. That's kind of where our area got its name. Got the Yellowhead Highway all the way to Edmonton. So there's a little area, and that's called Yellowhead. It has several counties in it. Brazeau County is one of them, and that's the one I actually live in. I live near Breton, and I do live in the bush. There's no joke about that. We bought a parcel of land, and there was a mud path, and we couldn't even get the car in. So the first few months was to build a road and a fence and clear some trees. So yeah, we're really in the bush. Thanks to Starlink, we're able to bring this to you. But also, because of Starlink, it's not always super high speed upload. So from time to time, my video will get a little crappy, but the audio stays good. So hopefully you're not missing anything. And yeah, that's basically the story. I'm quite literally off grid in the bush, and nobody can shut me off because I'm on Starlink. But I'm having a good time, and maybe one day I'll get that little hand cam, and we'll walk around and we'll show you the stuff. We've been looking at going off grid like your family too, just to disconnect. Yeah, so Clay, it was a big life choice, a big change. And then when you're doing streams, you may have to run out and get your generator going. But we are absolutely very blessed to be able to do it. It's a lot of work, but we do sleep well, knowing that very little can interfere with us. So that's kind of cool. And we also like the ability to just take care of ourselves. I am an independent person, not just an independent candidate. I am an independent person, and a true independent person works well in communities and works well in relationships. So yeah, we are very blessed, Clay. And if you're ever in the Edmonton area, hit me up. I'll show you what we've done. And if you like this video, remember to like and subscribe and press that notification button to receive more information like this. You can also follow me at yellowhead.vote to stay informed and get the inside scoop. Thank you.